One. Right. How did that
look good?
Look? Okay,
that looked good. I liked it.
I clicked the wrong one. I clicked the one which is the first bit for the timer. Hello, everyone. By the way, we are live. Apologise. I'm just
new intro,
and I'm trying to work out. And now my trying to do it on my phone, and it's just there we go. Okay, right. So hello, I am Joe from Unit 151. We have Ramsey from RaJaThon. This channel, RaJaThon channel. There we go. We are going to be talking. This is a Sunday live one. The working man reads is possibly going to join us at some point. He's just on his way home. Confusion regarding the time scales and
it's all my
platforms.
Fault. We had to move it up.
Do you know what? I take half the blame as well. It's fine. We're just going to talk about our projects, what we're doing, how it's coming along, basically stuff like that. Really, Ramsey, do you want to introduce yourself in case there's new people about your channel and so on and so forth?
So I am an amateur writer working on 2 different short stories right now.
Two.
Started one and kind of got a little bit of writer's block, so I started a second one. You know, that fixes everything. But mostly I do book reviews and kind of a little bit of life stuff. Enjoy playing video games. That's kind of taken over most of my computer time lately. But I really, really enjoy reading and have had a lot of fun hanging out with Joe from Unity, and his story is coming along a whole lot better than mine, and I'm really excited to see where he's going and talking about that. So
cool. Okay. So what have you done this week? How has your writing been this week?
So I think I finished outlining my first short story, the one I was having trouble with. I kind of I don't really want to give away the twist, but one of the things that I was wanting to do as a twist, I feel like it would be out of character. So I was trying to find a way to make it in character. And I think I figured that out this week. So I'm excited to work on that. I haven't worked on the second story that I started. I outlined that one and I know exactly where it's going to go. It's kind of going to be, I'll explain it a little bit. There's this road, right? And these people have lived along this road. It's completely straight, like a Roman road. And it goes into the ocean. And then it goes to an old castle. So at one point, these people are living by the water next to the road, and a giant comes out of the water. And it takes one step a day and is walking down the road towards the old castle. And so people just start following it. Like there's a whole culture that grows around following this giant. And you come to learn that it's 100 wizards came together and created this giant. So it's like 100 wizards, 50 male and 50 female wizards that came together to create this giant. And
Cool.
So it's the story of the lives of the people that are following the giant that takes one step a day. And I think it'll take 1,000 days or something to get there, or maybe, I don't know, I'll find a good number, but basically it's the birth of like a set of gypsies because they followed this giant and they realized that they loved following, and they learned some magic to create magical wagons and stuff like that. So kind of a cool idea. I've outlined it all. I haven't started writing it, but I've got 3 or 4 pages of outline that how the story needs to go.
How is your other story coming along? Because it's been quite a while since we've done this, isn't it? So
I made it about 80%, and I didn't like the way I was ending it, and then I rewrote it, and I was still struggling with ending it. Like I knew somebody had to die, and I knew who I wanted to die, but I didn't know how I wanted to kill them and how I wanted the betrayal to happen. And I think I figured that out now. And then I had to go back and splice in like leading up to how that would happen. Like, I didn't want to just spring it on people, so I wanted to like pepper in his deficiency that causes him to eventually get betrayed. And I think I've done that. I need to finish the first draft, which I can probably get done this week, and then second draft, third draft, final draft.
So is it still in the same veins of how the last story? Because last time we spoke, your two brothers, the crow sleeping.
Yeah,
it's still all the same.
So what I really wanted to do is I wanted him to be betrayed by somebody close to him.
Oh, okay.
And the way that I was doing it was he was going to get betrayed by somebody, but I hadn't really fleshed out that person's character. So we didn't really understand the motivations of her. Well, I kind of gave a little bit too much away there, but the person that betrays him is very important to him. And because that person betrays him, it's like even more of an emotional gut punch kind of thing.
So this sounds completely, because last I knew about your story, your two brothers doing the cryo sleep. One had a child, and your dilemma at the time, well, not dilemma, but the way it was going to go is one was going to either kill himself or something, so the other one could always be out with the child and the partner.
Yeah,
that's because you're talking about betrayals and all this new stuff. Now I have no idea about none of this stuff.
Yeah,
this is all new to me.
Well, it felt. I was reading some books where, like, if any of the people watching have read Tad Williams, he is so descriptive, and I really wanted. My story just felt so cut and dry. Like, okay, he does this, he does this, he does this. He walks down this bridge. He goes here, he goes here, and it was not like, I don't know. It didn't really feel like it was immersing me in the world. Like I spent like 2 pages where initially I did like a paragraph describing like the hand optic interface, because they've got a like a visual cue in their eye where they can watch videos, and then a magnet in their thumb and a scroll wheel in their pointer finger. And so they can scroll through and click, double click and stuff like that. Well, I spent like a paragraph describing it initially, and then I went back and I wrote like a page describing it, and actually like so that you knew what I was talking about, because like I knew what it was in my head, but I had to get that on paper. And that's where I was struggling. And so I had to rewrite a bunch just to get that, stuff like that working right.
It's all part of it though, isn't it? You just got to keep.
Yeah. And I may cut a whole section of the book that I don't feel kind of works anymore. Like I want it. So I've got in all of my stories, in all my stories, I've got a immortal. So he did a favor for God back in the day. And he's currently in this story like 8,000 years old. And so I want to tie him in every story. So I have the main character meet him and go to a bar and kind of explain. But it was more of a tell instead of a show. You know how you hear a lot of authors say you should show, not tell. Well, it was a whole info dump, like telling the immortal what was going on. So I may cut that out. I just may make it real casual where he's like, oh yeah, that's that guy. I know him. He's the immortal. And then that'd be it. Something real small.
Well, I don't think it's as bad in conversation giving out information. It's when like there's just you just tell to say this the whole bit of information, like you pick up a gun and he's like, oh, this is this gun industry. That's when it's just an info dump. If you're having a conversation, it's a fluidy conversation. You could have the bar scene where it's going for a little bit, I don't know, they're drinking or whatever they're doing, and like talk about this, and then talk about whatever it is you're going to get to. You know what I mean? That's not too bad. You got to get. Sometimes you have to just talk about what these things are, and if these are problems on his mind, you'd talk to someone, wouldn't you? Yeah,
and I may shorten it. I may just make it where I kind of show through the story, and then be like, he sat down with him, and then maybe do like a different perspective or something where we switch to, because at one point I wanted to make him get a phone call, because he's, you're constantly monitored, kind of like Big Brother in 1984. Like every action is monitored. So while he's at this bar, there's going to be some sort of, like I guess it's like a jammer or disruptor or whatever. And so while he's there, they have like they realize that something's wrong because they can't look in on him because he's so highly monitored. And they're trying to find a way to get him out of that bar. So I'm thinking he gets a phone call or something, but if the jammer's happening, he can't make a phone call. So it may be a scenario where we like shorten it. And he's like, hey, this is what's going on. And he may actually sit down and be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. I know exactly. I've been trying to destroy that for years. You're one of those people. I was actually looking for you or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of that way we don't have to retell his story that we've already learned about in the first, 5,000 pages.
Cool. Okay. Do you want to hear about what I've been up to? All the progresses I've made?
Well, you've shown me some art already. So
I'm going to get to the art.
And,
so, what basically, my story's a lot's going on, but you deal with just the little people with the problems they got to deal with. So a big invasion happens over multiple galaxies, and you're dealing with the people on the planet trying to fight and survive. So this is kind of how my story is. I wanted to kind of explain a bit the grandness before you get into like the characters, because the characters don't care about the big picture because they're just trying to survive, that they're getting attacked and going to die. And I know some other military space opera books, they kind of like have like an admiral or someone high up at the beginning sort of do like a bit of a talk about something happens and the story kicks off, and then they sort of halfway through or at the end they have another like admiral chapter or something like that. So I've gone for that. That's what I've done this week. It's called The Third Hand. That's his title, Third Hand, because you got chapter leaders, whoever's in charge of. So unity's divided up into 50 sections. Each one's called like a chapter. Might change it, but at the moment it's called chapter. And then you've got whoever the chapter leader is. The chapter leader of, I think it's chapter 2, called Bardock. And he has 5 hands. There are 5 people underneath him who help him. Now you have normal ranks, like normal military, because you've got to keep it kind of...
Would you not call it fingers, for like 5 fingers and a hand?
Yeah, but it'd be called third finger.
Yeah, the third. He'd be the middle finger.
Yeah, because originally it was like you got hand of the king.
Yeah,
like you got like the first hand and the second hand. It's just like a ranking system. You got normal military ranks as well, but because they're well above the military ranks, I want to say a bit different. Anyway, so you're following Percy, who I think's he's the third hand, and he's just talking about a lot of information. Sorry if you hear my daughter crying, because you can hear me talking. She's going to whinge, just anyone else as well. And he's just sort of going over like a lot of information, a lot of stuff, talking about some stuff that's got to happen. And just to give you a bit of an idea, it's about 2,000 words. So it's not a big story. Here he is. He's here. I was going to add him to the stream quickly. Hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, fashionably late. How's it going, guys?
It's all right. We changed times on you. It's not your fault.
Yeah, we power pack these weekends, man. You know how it is. So.
I'll just finish saying what I'm saying, and then we'll introduce yourself, and then you can tell everyone. Right, cool. I'm going to lose my thought. That's the problem. What was I saying? Ramsey, what was I talking about?
You were talking about the military ranks for the guy, hands. So
I'm trying to show the grandness with this guy. Everything's going on, whatever's happening, blah, blah. That's what I've been doing. So it's going to be a 2,000-word chapter, give or take. So it's not super long. So it's kind of like a prologue, but it's not a prologue. It's part of the story because this happens. And then you then go off with all the other people, find out what's happening, and that's that, basically. As well as I've got some art done, which I'll show in a little while after we talk to Working Man's Read here. Of some bugs. I've called them the Swarm. And I'm going to show you like the evolution of the first pictures I had done, how they changed, what I put the artist through, saying, can you change this? No, I want that one. I don't like that one because I've got loads of pictures how they keep changing. I even circle a bit on the picture saying, can you take that away and add it to that one? And as you get like, I'm sure he's Lithuanian, so I'm sure he curses me in Lithuanian. He's like, I can do it, Joe. I'm like, I know you're swearing at me. And he does it in that. So I'll show you the done to the finished in a little while. Oh, he's gone. No, I was just about to let him talk.
I think he turned off his video real quick.
All right. When he comes back, I'll bring him back on. There he's back again. Right. Go. Are you good to talk?
Oh no, I'm sorry. It dropped it out. I tried to hit the comments and it dropped me out. But yeah, no, that's cool. So you got you have an alien species, kind of like what called a swarm. Is that what you were saying?
What we've got, I mean, I've got multiple alien species. My story's set like millions of years in the future, so it's got so advanced that advancements nullify each other. So you can't do a lot of advanced. You know, it's not like super fancy lasers and weapons and stuff because you can stop them things. Sometimes a standard projectile that just smashes your face in does a lot better than something that goes pew pew.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's cool because I feel like most of the military sci-fi goes with like phasers and yeah, that's neat. I like that.
Well, we'll get onto my stuff in a bit. Well, you're going to talk now. You're going to introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, your name, your stuff, and your channel.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm Working Man Reads. I've written some. I have 6 horror stories in the pipeline right now, but I actually am working on a novella. It's science fiction. It's my first delve into that. So then I was like, this would be perfect to come talk with you guys about. So I've been trying to slowly get some short story collection together, but I review mostly horror and science fiction. That's usually what I read. So I felt like, I'll probably, I have some questions for you guys too down the line, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm writing this story right now about Titan, which is one of Saturn's moons. And I'm kind of doing a terraforming type story where there was a war, and now the human race is trying to colonize outside of the Earth because Earth has been kind of decimated by this war. So that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't decided if I'm going to have a first contact or if I'm going to kind of go, hyper expanse like, where basically it's the real enemies are ourselves. I haven't decided if I want it to be more of a, the world itself is the antagonist, or if I want there to be a first contact. Maybe it'll be in the future, like maybe I'll start off with it's just us, and then a future book I'll have them be a first contact situation.
That'd be cool.
But
that sounds good.
Yeah.
So is that it? Do you want to talk? So go. You go.
Why'd you choose Titan? I've personally heard a few things about Titan. Like it has, I think I remember it has water on it. So technically we could live there, but it's far from the sun. So.
Yeah, that's I just wanted to be different than I feel like a lot of people do Mars because that's what we're actually trying to do. What is it? Not Bezos.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah, Elon Musk. He's trying to actually do that with the SpaceX. But if you actually look at, I did so much research, man, and I'm not a scientist. My science fiction will definitely be like soft sci-fi. If the wind's too bad, guys, let me know and I'll go over there. But
that's fun.
Yeah, so I just felt like Mars has been kind of beat to death. So I either wanted to do something where we were basically on space stations out in space, but I also looked up a lot. I'm not gonna lie, Reddit is my biggest friend with some of this stuff because I found a lot of different forums and stuff where Titan, it basically has water. From what we can tell, and I think it's like 80% of it's basically it's a lot like Earth, just like 1/3 of the size or something like that, and really cold and no gravity. So, but there's a lot to it, but yes, they have water.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But the biggest thing is they have water. So in theory, and there's different the way that the atmosphere is built up is we have an option where we could globally warm it and basically use that for terraforming it. And basically just use what we're really good at here on Earth and just global warm the crap out of it. And then we could have land, or we leave it cold and just basically live in biomes. But,
you could do, it's a crazy idea, move it, get some smart people to work out where to send it to get it into an orbit, which works out for its size to the sun, planet,
Yeah.
Strap some rockets, send it on its way.
Yeah, why not?
Just saying, it's a sci-fi. Go for it.
It is. Yeah,
is there a landmass?
The limit, right?
Is there a
Well,
landmass
they don't.
or we have to do like floating platforms?
I think it's like giant glaciers, man. It's like it's like the Earth, but in prehistoric times. They think that there is land underneath, but the worry is, and some of the hardcore scientists that have studied this think that if we do melt the ice, it's going to flood the whole planet. So we have to be careful with that. And I'm going to talk about all that probably in the story. But if you do too much of the warming, it's going to be it's going to be like Waterworld, that movie, you know, from the 90s or 80s. So, so I don't know. I might just have it in my story where we're slowly warming it up.
Yeah.
You know, and just have them kind of live in space stations that are really, really cold, you know. But it'll be fun. That's why I chose Titan, though, because there's like 3 or 4 options inside the Milky Way galaxy that they think are actually, you know, better than Mars, and one of them is the moon itself, our moon. So, which I think is interesting. So
we would just have to bring everything there. There's no natural resources on it.
Yeah, at all. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, once we're actually in space, like getting the resources is a lot easier than how we have to dig down in the planet, because it's all out there floating around.
Yeah.
You've got to get to it, find it and stuff. But it's once you've done the expense of getting up and establishing them factories and stuff in space, everything, like the more valuable resources are deeper in the planet, which are harder for us to get. It's all floating around in space. Just got to find it.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's a good point.
I've been researching space elevators a lot lately because they seem like a really doable thing. I read a book. It wasn't very good by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It was kind of like a short book, but they were basically planet side. Earth was destroyed, and we had a space elevator, and we were leaving the planet. And that was a pretty cool space elevator. And then the game that I play all the time lately, Satisfactory, they've got a space elevator. And as an elevator mechanic, you know, a space elevator basically is, you know, pretty cool for me. There's some really good YouTube videos on it. The only thing holding us back from doing it currently is a metal strong enough to create the cable that anchors it from the space station to the planet. And if we can find a metal, which was it nanotubes might actually be that metal or that substance that we use. Once we do that, it's totally possible, totally doable.
It's the weight as well, because it's the platform at the bottom would really have to, like a pyramid, basically.
It'd have to be massive, and it'd have to be at the equator. It would have to be. I think
it's the cube law, isn't it? Like every one goes out by 2, doesn't it? Or
yeah,
like so
and then huge, the orbits would have to. If I can get my fingers together right, the orbits you'd have to have a rocket in space that followed the cable well enough, because it would have to stay in orbit exactly as the planet moved. It'd have to stay exactly where it needed to be. But once we figure those things out,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
it can go from science fiction to science reality. So,
well,
that's pretty neat.
Like the amount of stuff that was science fiction, which is just normal technology to us now, you know, and like even stuff like that, you think, oh, it's crazy, but it could happen. You know, a few smart people work something out. Before you know it, as soon as they realise there's profit in it, poof, that's it.
Well, yeah.
Back in the day with Star Trek, didn't we take didn't scientists they're like, you know what, I bet we can make that, and then they took it, right? And
like
now we have it.
Phones and like tablet things are in them.
And then James Bond, a lot of gadgets for James Bond became stuff like the jet ski was completely designed after a James Bond movie. Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like certain things like that are just, we saw it, we thought about it, and we're like, yeah, let's just make that real.
Why not?
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. Do you guys put like characters that have similar jobs to you, or you know, or different jobs that you wanted to do? In the story that I'm writing, the sci-fi story, I have a female HVAC technician who's working in because when we colonized this moon, we brought a lot of the people that we needed for like infrastructure. So, you know, the setting up, biologists and different things like that, and HVAC and mechanics and things to build these structures. And it's just funny. So I have one of my female characters and I made her female just because I was like, you know, there's not enough females that do what I do, so I was like, let's make her a female, and she's out there, and she's like a single mom, and she does, and she's doing all the HVAC and like crawling through the duct. It's just cool. Like I don't know. Do you guys do that or?
I haven't yet. I know Joe's working on it. He's a carpenter.
Yeah,
he's doing a bunch of carpenter stuff.
Well, I haven't got actual characters to do carpentry stuff, but I'm adding carpentry terms in and names in and sort of slipping bits in. So like I've got a tank, which is just model. The model's called a router. Just like a router. Like someone's called nicknames called Chisel. Just like a few little carpentry things. I'm not just trying that. I'm trying to add a lot more stuff into, like, you know, 10 if people actually read the book, you know, 9 people will just read it and be like, that's just a name. But one person will be like, oh, that's a name of this. I know that. I'm trying to add random bits in, you know.
Yeah, little Easter eggs.
That's it. I like that, you know. It's
I like that too.
Not everyone would get it, but if that one person who would know that subject.
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't done that, but I've always wanted to learn how to be a blacksmith. And so one of my characters, I'd like to do a blacksmith eventually.
That's badass. That'd be cool. For sure. Yeah, that's fun. Like, space elevator, though.
I've got like another random one. Just think about it. Like I never used to watch a lot of Brandon Sanderson's videos about the lectures you do. That before he had it on the main channel, there was another channel that had him on called Amazing Dragon. I think it was called. Right ago. So even called
ones, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them, because the Amazing Dragon, I've actually named a tank that, like, you know, like usually like the tankers name their own tanks. This one's called the Amazing Dragon tank or something. Just like little things and just, you know, it's not just a name, but it's not like, oh, that's that name because of that, and just
I think that stuff's cool. That's cool. And then in the future, when you do like an interview like this or something, and you wrote it, you're like, oh yeah, that's why I wrote that, and somebody will notice it, and it's just a cool little thing to do. So, that's fun.
Yeah.
Something I've thought about doing. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Is like if as long as you get the print of the page right and everything, like if you pick like a line or somehow work out the first letter of every sentence would actually spell something out, or if you did some sort of code, it would spell it out. But it's got to be like enough to like if you flick through each page, it'd be like, you know, the first second, something like that. I thought that'd be cool, but I don't know. It's quite hard to have to make sure your sentence actually works.
Yeah, with formatting it, that would be hard. Yeah. That'd be fun.
When I drew out my universe, I did that a little bit. I did. I have one planet that has a ring, and it's the as Nang, I think is how you pronounce it, but that's the official name of the One Ring from Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Oh,
and
that's
then
sick.
They're, you know, gas giants, and so I named one like Fee-Fi and the other one Fi-O-Fum. You know, sort of like Fee-Fi-O-Fum for giants.
That's sick.
So,
I like that.
Small stuff like that's cool.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to see
for yourself?
Do you want to see the evolution of my bugs?
Yeah, let's see it.
Right.
I do.
So how this started out, I wanted to have bugs at the time. I was calling them bugs at the time, in my universe, but I didn't want to be just fighting them. I thought it would be quite an interesting concept because it's so far in the future. Anything's possible within as much realism as it is. Like I still abide by, you know, gravity, how you have to fly in space. Don't do lasers because lasers actually, the further they go out, they get bigger. So they're not pinpoint. You know, so like, I'm keeping everything as realistic as I can, and then adding in a load of the BS as well. So I thought it'd be quite cool to have bugs that end up fighting on like Unity side as well. They're part of Unity for some reason, some, you know, wizard reason. So I thought, well, cool, I'll do that. I'm going to start designing some. Not me designing some, but I got my artist friend to design them. And now this is the first concept that we got done, and they changed drastically. So I got this done with a different artist. Hang on, it's just going to pop up on the screen. My computer's really bad, so it takes a bit of time to load up. Is it up yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
can see
creepy.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, let me just get that picture up there. I'm going to just move that out of the way.
The webbed feed is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I started with that one first, And then I got the guy to do this one. Hang on, it takes a little while. So this was the Queen. This was sort of the design of the Queen. How this come about was Ender's Game. The head's kind of like the Ender's Game alien that you see at the end, and a bit kind of Starcrafty Queen. That's where I got that sort of idea from. My other art, the artist guy who does Lithuanian guy, NeutronBoar, his linked in the description will look. He was like, no, Joe, basically, we're not having it like that. I was like, okay. So then he done. I'm just gonna try and get it up. Sorry, my computer's so slow. Let me just stop sharing, and then I'll get the next.
Yeah, those are creepy, man. I like it.
My plan for Christmas is to get a better computer.
I built mine, and I am so happy with the fact that I got everything I wanted because I built it.
That's what I want to do. I want to. Oh, it's up. There we go. Right. There we go. Right. Let's share again.
You just buy one part at a time, and then in 6 months, you've got all your pieces.
Well, that's it, really. You know what? That's
like the Johnny Cash song, get it one piece at a time.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did, yeah.
Right. So this is then what my artist done, because I'm quite a fan of ants. I actually like ants. I don't know if you know about it. This little few ant facts. There's more weight of all the ants in total than there are humans.
I believe.
And scientists have actually said that if any species looked at our planet at the most dominant species on the planet, for the sheer mass of ants, they would look at them over us because they outweigh us. Even though we've built a lot, ants on every single bit of ground across the entire planet, and they always go to war. Ants fight all the time. They're crazy. Like they slaughter each other. So because of that, I was like, cool. I'm going to kind of base my things on the ants. So then I told the artist. He drew up a load of stuff. He's like, what do you like? And I kind of liked this one here. A's the one I kind of liked just because I like the body shape and a bit like that. And it kind of looked anty, where the other ones were a bit more elaborate to ants.
I like I. I think I looks pretty good.
I. That's cool.
Top row, yeah.
Yeah, I is cool.
Well, I liked A, and I was
A's
like,
cool.
yeah. So he does. So then after that, he then did.
If you did just black and white, A would be the best because it show up really good on black and white. Like if you did like a chapter header and put him above, like put him up and then chapter 1, it would show up really, really well in black and white.
I'm just gonna get the next one.
Very cool though. So are they going to be sentient? Like, are they going to have like intelligence in your story, or
yes?
Kind of like this?
So how they work? Let me just stop sharing just so I can then my computer load faster. So how it works? The bugs are more in a defensive position regarding Unity. You've got the Prime Queen, which is the main one. She's the one who lays all the eggs, and then they'll follow after. These are the way my thing's structured. It's very it follows how ants actually do breed, live, and what they do. But I've sort of taken a bit from this species, that ant, that bit of species, sort of like, you know, the few bits that I really like from each one, and combined it to make one. Because they have multiple queens, and then every whatever time scale it is, they have a prenuptial flight. They grow their wings, they fly off, they start new colonies. So that's how they spread. So it's something that takes time, but somehow through science and wizard waving hand, they don't attack Unity. The guy at the top and the prime and the prime queen, somehow they've made some sort of whatever it is. You don't get into this sort of stuff, you know. So the ants have the ants. They're on each planet underground doing their stuff. They're about the size of a human and a bit bigger. They're not like super monster creatures, you know what I mean? They're kind of, and they kind of keep themselves doing their own thing. But if ever they get invaded, which they do get invaded, then they come out and tear stuff up. Some ants eat meat, some ants just eat leaves. So these ants are both. They eat both. So that's why they don't need to eat people. So they eat stuff in forests, and that's why they have their single hive per planet under obviously the ground. They forage, they do all this stuff, but then if anything kicks off, if there are these species on these planets, they go to war with everyone else because the planet unit's under attack by whatever reasons again, and then they just sort of
That's
fight,
awesome.
kill, and slaughter. Because what I like the idea of was you've got like a load of Marines fighting some aliens behind something, and then like one of this, whatever they're human Marines or alien Marines on Unity side, then you got like a bug there, so they're all running down, shooting each other, tanks going down, and you got these bugs scuttering, jumping, ripping people to pieces, and like the tanks fighting, and like there's like a tank, and a bug jumps on the tank to jump on someone, some sort of crazy.
So like the Starship Troopers movie.
Yeah, but imagine that the arachnids are on the human side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I've watched that movie like 100 times. It's great.
I don't care what anybody says. That's a classic. That's a great movie. Yeah. That's really cool, man. That's actually really cool. I like that.
Right.
I like
what
that.
I'm going to do, I'm going to try and show you the last two because my computer's absolutely dying, and I've got like a few pictures to show. I wanted to show like the evolution, how we worked through it, but my computer's, there we go, it's loading on that. It's just not having it. So I'm just going to show you the final forms of what we worked up to. I'll have to do another video. Kind of show his artwork off because how he changed. So he did like them, then he did another 4, and I sort of went through what I liked, and then after the 4, he then come back, show 2, and I was like, oh, can you take a bit of the bottom of that one off and add it to the top one? So you come back again, and then he showed me. Right, here we go. Right, I'm going to show you the last 2 now.
Speaking of ants, I'm getting swarmed.
Did you know some ants have stingers on their bums like wasps? Because wasps and ants were originally one species back in the day. Or they descended from the same. There you go.
I did not know that. Well, hopefully these ones don't have that. Cause...
Yeah. Right. So this is the final version. Well, this is still the concept art. It's not like a final drawing, but this is just like what we come up to as a final one. It kind of looks a bit spidery, actually, but it's an ant. It's closest to looking like an ant, but not actually looking like an ant because ants, even though they look creepy, they don't look very armored and like they're going to go to war.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
could you imagine this
they do
thing?
look really good.
So this is about the size of a dog, a big dog, about 3 foot high, 2 foot, and they go
like
up
a Labrador.
to about, and then they get bigger to about 12 foot, maybe like the prime queen's like about 20 foot, but she's the biggest. And she don't move much. She's so big. So there's one like that, and then there's one with wings as well, just to give you a different idea, because obviously ants have wings. So we've got the stinger. So what I thought in the story, my story's a bit bloody. Like, they'll come up with their pincers, pinch off someone's arm, sort of hold them, then stab them in where they've cut through the arm to kill them with the poison, and just stab them with the stab kills them. Very brutal. Going for a bit of a brutal story. But yeah, so that's just sort of
That's cool.
That's what I thought. That's kind of just some stuff that he's done, and but they're not going to be in this book.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're not going to be in this book. They're going to be introduced later because they're quite an extreme thing. I feel like you don't get. I don't know any military sci-fi space opera stories that have got giant ants that run around all the same size as Marines. So I'm going to introduce these slowly. So part of the chapter I was talking about at the beginning of the prologue, chapter 1 thing with that guy, they're starting to move these hives into other galaxies, spread them about. So you're going to talk about them, but they won't be brought up on the actual book until later on, because I just think it'd be too there's a lot that goes on in my universe, and I don't want to have like so much going on. Too much is too much. So I want to introduce over time. That's kind of what I was thinking. But,
you said you had some questions, Worker Man?
Oh yeah. So it sounds like he answered one of mine. I was wondering if you were going to have like a series where it's a continuation, or if you're going to have like one big one that's wrapped up, or because what I personally was thinking about doing, and let me know if you guys read a lot more sci-fi than me. What if you had like almost a Pulp Fiction style, a 200 to 200 page 250-page book, and each individual book you pick up, it's in the same universe, but it's all wrapped up in one book. And then each book is similar characters. I'm going to add on to it, almost like old school sci-fi. You know, not like a 3-book series, but something I could always add on to is kind of where I was at. But if you picked up the second book in the series, you're not going to be missing out. You can just read that one and go back if you want, or you know. I was just wondering what you guys think about that, and if you guys are going to be doing a long series or one large book.
I personally am doing something kind of similar. I've got one guy who's an immortal, and I want him to be in every story. And I've got like a 5-planet universe. So 5 planets revolve around 3 suns, and then there's 2 gas giants that are kind of out. And each one God created 1,000 years later, and they go through a 10,000-year life and death cycle. So it'll be the same universe. And then I don't want to do any book series longer than a trilogy. So, you know, every story will wrap up in a trilogy, but you'll still, like, characters will pop in and out because it's the same world, same universe. But because he's an immortal, you can go back and forth in time from, you know, year 1000 to year 22,000. So
That's neat. I like that.
The way I'm doing mine is it's an expansive story, and that's your universal setting. This event's happening, but you're just dealing with the characters in the event. So, like, most of my stories are going to be single, or maybe a couple, depending. Like, but you're just dealing with the characters, dealing with what's happening. So this book is about Unity's been invaded, but you're just dealing with this planet and this solar system's being invaded, and what these people are trying to do, and they've just got small tasks, like they're just trying to defend this city, establish some sort of order in this chaos that's going on, and that's their story, trying to defeat the enemy who are just trying to survive in this story, you know. Like, and another book will come out, which I already know what I'm going to do for like other books, but they're all going to be different characters. Like, if someone survives in my first book, maybe he might pop up, but you don't need to read this book to understand this book, but obviously it would help. But yeah, like, because I don't like characters who don't die. So a series I'm reading at the moment, it's called Blood on the Stars, and another one I read which was Fire and Rust. They're both really good military sci-fi, space opera kind of things. But by like the third, fourth book, you know your characters aren't going to die. Maybe some of the secondaries or the third ones, but the main characters don't die. And I feel a bit detached because I know they're never in trouble. You know, they're like running down the corridor, shooting, like all these aliens everywhere. It's like, oh, it's really tense, they're going to die. But I know they're not going to die because 3 other books. And I don't like that in a way. I don't mind my main characters dying if there's enough other people around who can pick up the pace. So that's kind
exactly
of what I'm going for. I've got 4. Sorry, I was going to say I've got.
No, you're good.
Yeah, 4 main characters that I've written, and I've got the one person who pops in just through the prologue, middle, end bit. They might all survive, or they're probably all going to die. You know. Like, you have to see that there might be a 5th character in there, might die as well, and that's what I like, because you don't know who's going to survive. Because I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible as a made-up story in the future. You know what I mean? And I find it very unrealistic that they don't die. You know, it's kind of just the way I feel.
Love that. No, I love that idea. That's exactly the type of book I like to read. So I think that you're going to really hit with that one, because some of the books that I read, you know, I'm like, this guy's never going to die. You know, I'm like, yeah, we know he's not going to die. I actually, that's exactly what I want to do, is like, I'm going to have probably 6 or 7 characters, and I want the most unlikely person to survive. You know, the person you think's going to die for sure. And I'd like to maybe make that person pull through, but everybody else that's more popular in the story, they might not make it. Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Especially because I'm a horror fan, so I think I'm going to have some pretty dark. I think it's going to be a little dark, but it's going to be fun. It'll be kind of like, I don't know what that would be in sci-fi. If I don't know, I read a Darcy Coates book called Parasite, and it was pretty dark. It was like horror sci-fi, and I kind of like that style where it's, you know, there's like, I might have my characters have some PTSD from the war, and just, you know, emotional trauma, and they're trying to terraform this planet, and they question why they're even there. And I'm just gonna have a lot of dark stuff, dark tones, but it'll be fun. Definitely
It's
killing
good.
some people off.
That adds to the characters, you know, and a lot of military sci-fi. I have noticed that they are adding a lot more PTSD to their characters through everything, because it happens. It's a very common thing that happens. So by adding that, it just makes your characters more believable, more realistic, you know. And a lot of service people, especially in America, they do read sci-fi and more of the action side of sci-fi. So if you're hitting them tones, they'll make, you know, it'll hit with them as readers.
Yeah, that was my hope, is to have more believable, because some of the military sci-fi I read, which are a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but there's no dark tones, and there's no real emotional attachment to the characters, because they're more of like a superhuman type guy, and you're like, I mean, I'm like, that's cool and entertaining, but I think if you went to war with 6 species of aliens and had explosions going on next to you, and you lost all your friends, and I think that, yes, you would have some PTSD. So I want to explore that a little bit, like some of these newer sci-fi guys are. I do appreciate that. So
yeah, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do as well. So I'm glad I found someone else who's in the same vein as me.
yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to read your stuff.
Hopefully, by the end of the year, give or take, I'll have it done. I'm not that far off now. I mean, I'm at 80-odd thousand. 80,000 was my target as it goes, but I'm gonna be more of the 100,000. See, for me, I'm not doing this for money. I'm literally doing it to put my story out. If anyone likes it, great. If not, I put a story out. My partner works. I stay home with the children. Got a few other little side projects and stuff. So like, I'm not doing this to try and make money. I'm gonna have the pricing of the book as down as I can, because I want to make like a really good book. So a lot of this art that I get done, I'll have it black and white and printed on the left of each chapter. The chapter starts on the right, and on the left there'll be a bit of art with a bit of description of something that's happening, just to add a bit more flavour to the book. And then, because if you have black and white, that costs the same as a normal printed page, as far as I understand from what research I've done. So you're just paying for a normal black and white page. So I think it's quite good. Every chapter you've got, like, you know, a character or a bit of armor or a tank or something, just to give a bit more information. If someone's like, "Oh, what's this?" You know, if they fancy that.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
I 100% agree with you, man. It's not about the money. If you're doing an independently published book, you're doing it for fun and in hopes that one person reads it and says, "That was a really fun read. I'm glad."
That's all I care.
That's all I want. Yeah, that's all I would want.
To actually make a job of being an indie writer, you have to pump out a book every 3 months. And what I find with reading a lot of indie authors' stuff, some of them feel a bit flat because they have to keep putting a book out. That's why series go on for a long time, because they want to keep you hooked. Because if you don't, you lose the fans. They move on to other people, or that's what they think anyway. So
absolutely,
I don't care for that. I'm going to do 1 book a year, 1 book every other year. A big book. I'm going to make it as big as I possibly can. And if 2 people read it, I'm happy. You know?
Well, yeah, we're kind of seeing that with the Jack Campbell books. You know, some of them are hits, some of them are misses. You know, how long we've been doing this read along for? Almost a year, right? Yeah. You know, and some of them are fantastic. You know, and then some of them are like, we could have skipped that one. You know, so I see that.
That's awesome.
How big are you looking at doing your books, Working Man? What is your name? Tell me your name. Or do you want to say your name? Do you not?
Yeah,
Josh. Right, I remember that. It's easier because I keep
Yeah,
so you should put Josh. Put Josh in your little name thing.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
same question.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Honestly, this is the first one I've actually plotted out. I'm usually a pantser, but this story because I want it to be longer. Of course, the wind starts up when I start talking.
It's not that bad.
Okay, cool. I have plotted it out. I'm shooting for like 180 pages, 200 pages. We'll give or take. I want to have shorter chapters with quite a few characters. So I'm shooting for like 6 to 7 characters, but I want quick, punchy chapters. just because I want to grab people's attention and just make it more fast paced, but at the same time have some depth to the characters. So that's my goal. Well, we'll see, because once I get into it and I start getting into these characters' minds, that's usually how unfortunately, I start sitting at the computer and I'm like, oh yeah, no, let's do this now, and I just start going.
That's
and the
the
character
best
comes
thing.
out. So
See, as long as you know where you want to aim, you can pants it all the way to there. You just got to set your targets. Keep aiming for the targets, but just go for it. And if you have a crazy idea, run the idea, see if it works. If not, scrub it, start again. You know?
Oh yeah. Some days I'll write. I'll save the chapter I'm working on, and then I'll end up writing, and I don't like how it turned out, but I'll still save it just as a different edition of that story, and then I'll
you might get ideas, a later date, or something else might happen. You might be like, oh, that could tie in with that, or
Exactly. So I always, that's the biggest thing is like I'm still writing and I'm new to this, but the biggest thing is just I try not to get discouraged in myself, and I'll just come back. Like if I don't like the way something went, I'll see it in a week and I'll come back in a week, because this is the long game for me. I don't care when I release the story. It could be a year. It could be a year. It could be 2 years. I don't really care. I'm just working every day towards it. And if I only write 200 words or whatever, that is what it is. I'm having fun. It's my hobby because I work too much, so I try to have fun.
Yeah, I see. My thought process is, when I finally get this done, how am I going to share it? Like, I've heard very negative things about putting stuff on Wattpad and like people stealing your work. So I don't want to put it there, but I don't even plan on, like, my first story I know is going to be bad. Like, even though I've rewrote it 3 times now, I don't mind, like, I just don't want somebody to steal it. Like, if it's bad and nobody reads it, that's fine. I just don't want somebody to steal it.
Get the copyright to it.
You got to copyright it,
Get it copied, and that you own the IP of it. And then once you've done that, put it plastered wherever you want. If someone steals it, you sort of, not that they're going to steal it, but if they do, then, I mean, people steal stuff's work anyway, it's just going to happen. But, you know what I mean? You ain't going to sue them, but you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you own the rights, anything down the line, because you never know, it might pick up, might be famous.
Yeah, I'm going to go right to probably putting it on Amazon. I'll probably Kindle. Yeah, I already have my account set up, so it is what it is. People can land. I even said in one of my videos, I was like, I don't care. Land base me, man. I can handle it. It's not going to be it's not going to be perfect. I know it's not going to be perfect. If I write one good novella in my lifetime, I think that I've successfully attacked my hobby and had fun with it. So I really don't care what. I want it to be good, and I'm going to pay for it to be looked at, and have some friends read it, but to make sure that my editing is proper. But I really don't care, But I would definitely get it copyrighted, because you know what? Yeah, I agree with you. You got to be wary about people stealing your product. So,
see, the thing that's good about us for doing this is once you've done it, you've gone through your first edits, you've got your book, and you've done your proper editing, so like it's spelt and done correctly. You've got your beta readers on here. You've got your audience to a degree, so you can just find, put a little poll out, see if anyone wants to join in or read it. You can send them it, get feedback, re-edit it from that feedback, then put it on Amazon. And then get a few printed ones, give it to them guys who've done the beta reading, saying thank you. Give them some print. You know what I mean? But you'll probably find like a few of your audience will buy it because you've done the work and they like you and they want to see how your story is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a writer's workshop for like a writing group. So that'll be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm just excited for people to see like what in my head I thought worked well,
and how they envision it, because they're going to see it differently to how you did.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm putting pictures. I'm putting pictures on each chapter, saying, know what they look like. This is what this alien looks like. You understand that this is the alien. This is the tank. This is the bug. We now established it looks like this. No confusion.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that'll be really cool. I'm excited to see that, because not a lot of books do that. And I do appreciate that when authors put their own little, there's a couple indie horror authors that do that, and they'll put like, you know, little illustration in between the chapters, and I think that just it really adds to the experience. So that'll be really cool. Are you guys doing pen names or
no, just me?
Yeah, your name.
I mean, we're on YouTube now. It's like kind of
true.
defeated the purpose of trying to be discreet.
Yeah,
anyway.
my problem is I think I'm gonna have to have a horror name and then a sci-fi name, because I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that because it's going to be a totally different product, you know.
Yes.
So that's my problem, because I like to write in two different things, and I think on my horror I'm probably going to have some random pen name, and then I think the sci-fi will be my real name. So
you could just do like your first and middle name initials, and then your last name, and then you could just switch the two initials for each set.
Yeah, there you go. Why not? That's actually a good idea.
As long as you let them know what the book is, you could probably stick it on your same name anyway. As long as you've got, like, when you're going to sell it, it's like, this is a horror, this is sci-fi horror.
Yeah. People are smart. Yeah, I'm sure they can do. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I've got to get out of here at 4:30.
Yes,
so
that's fine.
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to hit before I?
No, actually,
it goes.
You guys can keep going if you want. But
I'm actually at a splash pad with the kids right now. So
you go look
it's down the street.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like 86 here. So nice. So I totally respect. I should probably go hang out with them anyways. But this was fun, guys. We should do this again.
Well, at least every other Sunday I try and do it. So you're more than welcome to jump on. Same time, give or take.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know how it's going. So.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being live. Thank you, Ramsey, for coming. Thank you, Josh, as well. Find their channels, follow them. I mean, most people probably do, so watch it anyway. But still, thank you and goodbye, everyone.